it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. So this is my heart side where I talk about my reading, writing and life journeys. Today I have a long overdue book haul for you. So I have been slowly buying books or being sent or gifted books from people, and I brought them into my house and I forgot just how many I had scattered around the house that I hadn't told you guys about. So if you're still looking for some lovely books to get friends or family for Christmas, maybe some of these are up your alley or up their alley. You can also treat yourself. So these are in no real particular order. So I'm just going to pull from the top of the list, the pile even. So the first one I have is Long Live Evil by Sarah Reese Brennan. So this is a tale for anyone who's fallen for the villain. As her whole life collapses, she still has books, dying to seizes a second chance at living a magical bargain which leads her to enter the world of her favourite fantasy series. She wakes up in the castle on the edge of the hellish chasm, the home of the once and forever emperor. Her favourite fictional character is impossibly alluring as the only fiction can be. However, this fantasy world, she discovers that she's not the heroine but the villainess in the emperor's tale. This is something I really have been looking at getting into as well, is stories told from the villain's perspective. So I did pick this up, trying to get to it in the in 2025. Similarly to getting books from the villain's point of view, I have two more at least. I have Heartless by Marissa Meyer, which is long before she was the terror of Wonderland, the infamous Queen of Hearts, she was just a girl who wanted to fall in love. So Catherine may be one that has desired the girls in Wonderland and the favourite of the unmarried king, but her interest lies elsewhere. She's a talented baker. She wants to open a shop and create delicate pastries. At the royal ball, Kath is unexpected to receive the king's marriage proposal. She meets the handsome and mysterious Jest. So basically it is how the evil queen came to power. The Queen of Hearts, came to power in Wonderland, and what made her go from being a lovely young girl that wanted to be a baker to a tyrannical queen. Similarly, we have the first book in Heather Walter's new duology, The Crimson Crown. So Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, who's the wickedest of them all? So Snow White's Dark Queen tells her side of the story in this queer, witchy reimagining of the classic fairy tale. So legends tell of a witch who will become queen, a heartless villain, in the story of Snow White, but then the wicked queen is stepping out of Snow White's shadow and to become the heroine of her own legend. Once upon a time began when she was just Elirth, when her magical gifts were yet to reveal themselves, and she feared that she would never become the witch her coven needed her as the threat of the royal huntsman intensified. To prove herself, she set out on a perilous quest to send her to the decadent and deadly White Palace. So also just this is a beautiful cover, so it is queer and it is a villain origin story. And then I have Lily Wilkins' Deep in the Fen, which is another queer story to my knowledge. Merriwell Morgan doesn't need a happily ever after. Her life is idyllic. Town of Connellcote is fine just as it is. Simple, happy and absolutely no magic. Magic only ever leads to trouble. But Mary's best friend Teddy joins the Toadmen, a secret society upholding backward thinking and mysterious supernatural traditions, as determined to stop him even if it means teaming up with her academic arch rival Caraway Bolson, an ice-cold snob who hides his true face behind glamour. Enemies to lovers, possibly. Young adult Australian YA novel. Pardon me, looking forward to that. I then was lucky enough in the back end of October, so this is well overdue, to go to a talk with the Duchess of York, Sarah Ferguson. So I got Her Heart for a Compass, written by the Duchess of York, which is a historical but fiction in 1865, when one act of rebellion cost Mary Margaret Montagu Douglas Scott her family, her reputation, her place in society. Her life is swept into a new course, one that will test her courage and resilience. From the drawing room of Victoria Court to the grand country houses of Ireland, the bustling streets of New York, Margaret embarks on a journey self-discovery where she is like-minded and equally spirited companions to shape her world. Getting to that eventually. I'm not a huge historical fiction person, but it is what it is. I then have some young adult horror that I want to read, and this cover is just beautiful. It is Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. No one would want a heart like his, but he still cut it out and gave it away. When Andrew returns to the boarding school, he can't wait to seek refuge in the twisted fairy tale. He writes Thomas, the boy with hair like autumn leaves. But Thomas's parents have vanished and he has blood on his sleeves. Strange still, Thomas won't talk to Andrew even though he's always loved sketching the monstrous creatures in Andrew's stories. Desperate to uncover the truth, Andrew follows Thomas into the forest and catches him fighting a nightmarish monster. His drawings have come to life. The boys must battle the creatures every night. But as their obsession with each other grows stronger, so do the monsters. Andrew fears the only way to stop them may to be destroy their creator. Queer love, dark academia sort of vibes. Then we also have The Castle of the Cursed by Romeo Garber. I see his shadow form taking shape. He could be a teen or in his early 20s, and yet a starry galaxy in his eyes contains universes. After a mysterious attack kills both her parents, Estelle Berger is forced to accept an invitation to live in her estranged aunt's ancestral castle in Spain. Behind the gothic facade, La Sombra harbors a trove of family secrets. Estelle begins to suspect that the answers to her parents' death may be found in the twisted corridors of the castle. And then she's going to cross paths with a vampire, and they realize that they're bound by unknown forces. La la la. And then I have Kelly Andrews' new one, which is a sort of a dark, twisty Peter Pan reimagining, and it's Your Blood, My Bones. So seductive, twisted romance about loyalty, fate, and lets you will go to hide the darkest parts of ourselves and the people we love those parts the most. So White Westlock has one plan for the farmhouse she inherits to burn it to the ground, but her final walk through the childhood home, she feels a shocking discovery in the basement. Peter, boy she once considered her best friend, strung up in chains and left for dead. Semi-immortal Peter has suffered hundreds of ritualistic deaths on her father's family's property, bound to the farm, locked in a cycle of grisly death and painful rebirth. That's the only way for him to break free. He needs to end the Westlock line. He needs to kill Wyatt. And then I also have heard a bunch of lovely people such as Bree from Four Paws in a Book, Crystal for Bomb Book Reviews, and Jess from the Hex Library keep talking about Darcy Coates. And I found this one in my local bookstore, and I had a credit that I needed to use, my loyalty card, so I picked up Darcy Coates' Where He Cannot Find You. So don't walk alone or the Stitcher will find you. Abbey Ward lives in a town haunted by disappearances. People vanish, and when they're found, their bodies have been dismembered, sent back together and in unnatural ways. But it is the work of a human killer, or is it something darker? Don't stay out late or the Stitcher will take you. She and her younger sister lived by a strict set of rules designed to keep them safe. It is why there's such a shock when hope is taken. Desperate to get her back, Abby tells the police she knew everything she knows, and by their claim of their hands are tied. Don't close your eyes or the Stitcher will remake you. So with every precious hour, Abby and her friends are caught in a desperate game of cat and mouse. They have to go to get hope back quickly before everything they can swallow down the darkness waiting in the tunnels beneath the home that they knew. Bonus illustrations in this book throughout it. So spooky-ooky. And then another spooky gothic tale I want to get to is this amazing new book, which is The 13th Child by Erin A. Craig, and is also very pretty foiling on the cover. And it just says, Hazel. Hazel Thompson has always known she wasn't like her siblings. The 13th child promised one of the gods to spend her childhood waiting for her benefactor Merrick, the god of death, to arrive and take her away. When he does, he lays out exactly what he's planned for Hazel's future. She will become a great and celebrated healer. To aid her endeavors, Merrick blesses Hazel with the gift, the ability to instantly produce the exact cure needed to treat the sick, but all gifts come at a price. Hazel can see when death is claimed a patient and is tasked by ending their suffering permanently. Haunted by the ghost of those she's killed, Hazel longs to run, but destiny brings her to the royal court, where she meets Leopold, a rakish prince with a disdain for everyone and everything. And that's where Hazel faces her biggest dilemma yet. should she save the life of the king marked to die. Hazel knows what she is meant to do, what her heart is urging her towards, but what will happen if she goes against the will of death himself. Gothic-y. I keep hearing so much about her, and I picked this up. And then I have there was an indie bookstore that stocks only indie books open up in Perth very recently, and I went to the opening and picked up 3 books. So we have The Disappearing to Nowhere by Lindsay B. North. The Reaping. Every 5 years during the summer months, people disappear without trace. They're always the same age group. No one is safe, but this year this year's Reaping, I'm one of them. Disappearing to Nowhere is a dark, high romantasy inspired by Norwegian folklore, and delving into the world of magical creatures where chaos reigns and luck determines survival. And then I picked up another one by Claire Butler, and this is To Reclaim a Kingdom, is book 1 in the Red Wood series. So 2 fallen kingdoms, 2 fates intertwined, who will rule? A princess by birth, soon to be queen by marriage, Brielle is eager to fulfill her great destiny to rule the southern kingdom the way she rules the infamous Ladies' Court. A prince by birth, soon to be king, Henry is also has a great destiny to rule the North Kingdom, a fate he resents and resists at every opportunity. Both kingdoms are invaded and conquered by a foreign ruler, Brielle and Henry's fates change, forced to flee for their lives. Their only sanctuary is a cursed red wood, rumoured to be filled with vengeful spirits, lost souls, and blood magic, surrounded by the enemy and betrayed by those closest to them. But will they have choices made? Can they be trusted? Will they fight for, and what are they prepared to sacrifice to reclaim the kingdom? It's the fast-paced adventure of intoxicating romance and high-stakes choice. So if you like Mary E. Pearson, Daniel L. Jensen, and Amanda Young, then you will enjoy this series, apparently. It's just got a pretty cover. And then finally, I read this book earlier this year, but so want to do a reread and do some annotations on it. And that cover is just beautiful, and it's His Light in the Dark by Natasha Madden. It's book 1 in the Crescent Moon series. So evil can come in many forms. Selena is a fiercely independent female alpha wolf and owns a bar on the outskirts of Boulder. After a tragic loss of her parents, Selena is left to take charge of the pack with the backing of her 2 brothers. When she meets Logan, a damaged and closed-off detective, they is instantly drawn to each other. However, their budding romance is threatened by a series of murders with victims that bear a striking resemblance to Selena. As the body count rises, Selena and Logan must work together to unravel the mystery and catch the killer before it's too late. But the past has some catching up to do with them, and both Selena and Logan must confront their own demons and overcome past traumas if they hope to have a future together. Full of suspense, romance, and unexpected twists, His Light in the Dark is a gripping page-turning turner that will keep you readers on the edge of their seats till the very end. I highly recommend it. It's great. I will be doing a reread of it. So they are all the wonderful magical books that have come into my life in the last quarter. And some of them you'll be seeing very soon in a Pile of Possibilities reading challenge for 2025. So I would like to thank you if you've gone this far. Let me know what the book that you're most eager to read that you picked up recently is. Or if you've gone this far and you're not feeling overly chatty, just give me a book stack emoji in the comments. Thank you, and until next time, let's use our voices to promote positive change in the world. Bye-bye!